Whoa, more people in here already. Yes, make sure you know. Where's the fathom? Hello, hello, beautiful people. Here we are. Look at all these faces I've seen around the country the last week. All right, cameras on. It's one of my rules. Cameras on, please. If you're brand new tonight and you didn't know that and you're naked behind there, come next week with your clothes on so that you can have your cameras on. I do like to talk to faces, not black boxes with white names, and you will never, ever in a million years, ever show up the same with your camera off as you will when your camera is on. All right, make sure your lines are muted. I will mute you all, but I like you to be able to unmute your lines. So let me just make sure everyone's lines are muted. All right. Well, we have some excellent questions. And a lot to go through. So let's get this started. Sorry, I'm just changing my screen so that it's ready for those of you who want to watch the replays. Give me a second. All right, let me just add my pin. Okay. Here's how this works. If you are brand new, we're going to go through a couple of things. We've got a lot of brand new people. So I'm going to go through a couple of things before, oh, yep, all good. Before we start. So let me do this. If you didn't see it already, every Tuesday morning at like 7 a.m. Adelaide time, there's a post that goes up in the private Facebook group. And I'm going to show you what it looks like. Sorry, I'm still adding people that are all coming into the waiting room. So it looks like this. It looks like this, like that. Got a question for this week's, wait, got a question for this week's Zoom call. Yeah? It looks like that. So you need to look for that post on a Tuesday. Any questions you have for this call have to be posted before 6 p.m. Adelaide time. I do another call before this, a coaching call with a whole, nothing to do with parenting, just a whole different group. And I get off that call and I have 2 minutes to transition to this call. So if you don't have your questions up by 6 o'clock, I don't read them. Yeah, because I come from that call straight to here. So look for this every Tuesday morning around 7 a.m. It goes up automatically. And what I want you all to do is at least one time, if you open up the text that goes with it, it's a big long text, okay? Goes like that, and then the images down below, okay? I want you all to please make sure you read that whole text at least one time so that you know how these calls work, you know where to find the links, things like that, all right? Once you've read it once, you don't have to read it again, you know what it says. You put one question down the bottom in the comments, and do your best to explain it to me, because then that way, a couple of things. New people always go first. If you are new, you'll always get priority over someone who's here asking a question from, they've been here for years. They've had their chance to get all their questions answered along the way. And it certainly doesn't mean that older people don't get their questions answered, because one of the things I do is I definitely triage questions. And if we have a scenario where someone that's been here for 2 or 3 years has a question about their child self-harming or something, that's going to be a priority for me that night, okay? And I don't care if you're brand new, that person goes first because that child needs some very, very urgent help, all right? But otherwise, the other thing is, like, for example, there's a couple of you tonight that my answers to your questions are basically the same, because you're asking something around love languages. And so when you've written it out, it helps me to be able to get through more questions faster so that we can cover more things on this call. All right. My questions are never ever surface level. There's times where sometimes I spend 20 minutes answering one question, but every single one of you will get value out of this. And remember this, okay? I just want to set some, I want to set you up to win. So when you come to these calls, come as though you and me are one-on-one, okay? Literally show up like it is me and you. So cameras on, fully here. Of course, sometimes you might have kids in the background, and that's okay. We're on a parenting call. Like, people have kids here. Deal with them the best you can, but be on this call and make sure your cameras are on, okay? If ever you feel there's something going on in your world and you have to be anonymous for whatever reason, we do have sometimes people with legal issues or something like that, or whatever it might be. In that case, I'm like, in that case only, have your camera off and change your name on your Zoom call so that you can be anonymous or something like that, so that I can still do my best to help you and you can protect your, but other than that, I want you all here showing up in all of your vulnerability, in all that's real for you. I know that sometimes this can have you on an edge, and some of the things you want to talk about make you very vulnerable, and some of the things you talk about might make you feel embarrassed or ashamed. And that's what we're here for, right? We're here to break cycles and all of those feelings that we try to avoid. That's what we want to become so normal that it's easy for you to do the same with your kids. So there isn't a part of themselves that they ever have to hide or that they ever can't be vulnerable about. Okay, so that you truly become their safe place. Now, couple of ground rules. For those of you who are new, these Zoom calls have a ridiculous amount of value in them. And the downside of that is it's easy for you to get lazy. Okay, so let me be really clear. These Zoom calls are to go bigger and deeper and give you more value than watching the videos in the program. They do not replace the videos in the program. Okay, so don't get lazy. And what I mean by that is you come to the calls and you don't bother watching the videos. Okay, I know by the questions you ask whether or not you've watched things in the program. I am not here to do your parenting for you completely. I'm here to absolutely add to everything you're already doing. Okay, but you've got to watch the videos because a lot of your answers are in there. And the people who get the most astronomical, most like miracle results that you've heard some of the families say that they've had miracles here, they are the people who every week they're watching the videos, okay? And you might only watch 2 videos this week and it took 10 minutes is all you had. But nevertheless, get through the videos as soon as you can, okay? I don't want you to necessarily binge on them all in a couple of days because you need to implement and integrate everything you're learning along the way. But the program was made. If you did this program perfectly, if you were going to be the perfect student, you would spend around about an hour a week watching the videos. So it might be 5, maybe 20 minutes today, 20 minutes 3 times a week or whatever. I don't care. 1 video a day, 10 minutes a day type thing for 6 days a week. It's around about an hour a week. If you would invest in your parenting an hour a week and then you come to these calls, like your results will be beyond fast tracked. Okay. Because if you can come to these calls already knowing some things I've taught in the video so that I'm not here giving you an answer you could have got on a video. And instead we're here going even deeper than what a video can ever give you or being able to discuss things that aren't even in the videos. That's where everything really shifts. Okay. And the last thing I want to say is this. The reason these calls are important for you to be on, those of you who obviously came to our tours around the country and you heard me say that this program is a cocoon, okay? The caterpillar doesn't have to try to become a butterfly. All it does is put itself in the right environment and it surrenders to the process. And then automatically by default, without any effort of its own, it automatically becomes a butterfly. And that's you in this program. This program is your cocoon. And the reason I say that is this. Even if you don't have a question, even if your question didn't get answered, show up to these calls. The one thing I can't do for you is I can't make you get your ass on these calls. That is completely and utterly up to you and the commitment you have to your parenting. Okay. But if the only thing you will do is don't come to this call only when something goes wrong. And you're like, oh, that all fucked up. And then you come here and go, Holly, how do I repair it? Oh, this happened the other day and we had a big argument and I lost my shit. And like, I can help you, but I can help you so minimal. Okay. The value of this program is that you are in this environment. Like Tuesday nights are just your parenting commitment, right? The same way that you go to work every day, the same way that you go to the gym, whatever else you do with your life, commit like that because here's where you're going to get the value. When you're on one of these calls, maybe sitting in the background for 6 weeks, you didn't really have a question or whatever, you were just there. We have people on this call right now that have been here months or years. Adele is on the line. Lots of you saw her video. Adele is on the line and she's been in this program 7 years. She's the one with the son, that came, I told the story about, had ADHD and she really struggled to connect with him and now he's 17 and everything's different in their relationship. She's here right now. She's been here like 7 years, okay? Now, the reason she gets her parenting so fucking right is because she doesn't just come when she's got her own problem. She comes all the time. And when she was new, she didn't miss a call for 3 years. What that meant was a few weeks later, when something did go wrong and shit went down in her house, she didn't get it wrong. She already had all the seeds planted in her mind from the 6 weeks of calls she'd just been listening to without even asking her own question. And then when shit went down, she knew what to say because she heard me tell another parent 3 weeks ago. She had the seeds already there in her mind. So if you think this program is only here to help you repair shit and you don't show up unless you've blown it up and then you've got to come and get it fixed, your results are going to be limited. All right. I want you to be here as a cocoon. Let's get all these seeds planted in your mind. Let's complete. The more you're here, the more the files just go in that filing cabinet in your subconscious mind that we've talked about. And you come out a week later just like, I don't even know that I knew this, but it just starts coming out your mouth. You'll get to a video in the program in the second pillar or the third pillar. You'll be like, I already feel like I know this. And you haven't learned it, but you have because you've been on the calls and I've been telling it to other parents along the way. Okay, so that's how you're going to get the most results out of this program. So let's do this. Give me a second. I'm just going to fix my screen. And why is Zoom being funny? There's a new update on Zoom and now I don't know where my chat is. Give me a second. Everyone can hear fine? Oh, good. Okay. All right, so let's do this. Here's what happens. I will go through the questions that we have tonight. Have your chat boxes open. If you have a question, you can put it in there. It doesn't mean I'm going to answer it, but lots of people that are part of our community and have been for a long time might answer you. And there's always beautiful connections made in the chat box. So be here to like be part of the conversation, chat, connect with each other. Like the more you build friendships and connections and safety here, the more this will feel really fun for you to be part of, and the more you will change just accidentally. All right, for all the right reasons. So let me go to, I've got some love language questions I want to cover first. Wait, let me see who I'm remembering who it is. I think it might have been. Okay, yep, this is it. All right, there's a couple of you here. So I want to bring on, actually, Kelly, I'll bring you on first and I'll bring you on and Kelly and Anne. Yep, cool. Let me do that. Let me bring on Kelly and Anne. So just hold the line and I will bring you on. Anne, and let me see if you can unmute your line. I'm guessing you're the same Anne that made this. And then
Yep.
Kelly.
Hi, Holly. Thank you.
Hello, Anne. Hello, hello. And Kelly, oh, she's not on her computer at the moment, but that's okay. Okay, so let's talk about love languages. So you've said here that you want some help in working out the love language of your 14-year-old and you're working on the section and you're loving it. And you said that you want a few examples that are more specific to a teenager, which is very easy to do, so we can do that. You said you've ruled out touch for him and he definitely responds well to being given power and choice. Just remember this, power and choice, everybody needs. Every human needs love bucket and power bucket filled, okay? But pay attention to what fills his power bucket, okay? Which we'll come back to the love language thing. So you said here about how he appreciates honesty, doesn't want to be praised, and unless he feels that he deserves it. And you said, we all respond positive to all the language. We all like all the languages, but it just doesn't necessarily fill our bucket. So even just the fact that you said he doesn't like to be praised unless he really feels like he deserves it, this already is a sign of words of affirmation. What are you feeling? Do you have any clue what you think his love language might be right now, or?
Well, I've sort of experimented with a few different things. Um, interesting you say about the words of affirmation, because something he said to me in a negative sense was he said, been to a basketball game and didn't play that well. He told me he didn't play very well. And I made a comment and I said, oh, I thought you made some good passes.
Okay.
And he said, oh, I hate it when you say that. You're just trying to make me feel better.
Okay, good.
Um,
All right, this is great. So This is a big sign that that words is hey Kelly, I've got you on screen because I'm talking. I'm going to answer your question as well. You and Anne both have a very your questions around love languages and your answers are very similar. So I've got you both on the screen at once so that I can go through that with you. So this is a big sign. Let's not lock it in as permanent, okay? But it is a big sign that words of affirmation. Here's what's key with words of affirmation. When you give somebody words of affirmation, your words are only valid and they only fill my bucket if they affirm what I basically already know about myself. Does that make sense? You can't
Yep.
blow wind up my ass. That does not do it for me. It has to affirm what I felt or believed or noticed about myself, for example. It has to be affirming, okay? Not like praising, if that makes sense. So now you might have genuinely believe that he made some good passes, right? But here's what happened here. I want you to notice what happened here. And everyone pay attention. You'll all do this with your kids, okay? Because do you remember when we were on tour? I'm guessing you were at one of the tour events. Sorry, give me a
Yep.
second, just letting you.
Yep. Sunshine
So
Coast.
you remember I said something, I mean, I say different things on all stages, but I say something to the effect all the time of any emotion you can't sit within yourself, you'll never be able to hold space for in your children, right? So if you struggle to, let's say, meet yourself in your own disappointment, or when you feel like you've let yourself down, or when you feel like you've done something shit, and maybe it comes because in your background or with your parents, maybe you really got judged or you really got criticized, or maybe you never got noticed at all, no matter what you did. It doesn't matter where it comes from. But in this moment, here's what happened for your son. He was telling you that he think he had a shit game, right? And what he needs in his life is affirmation. He needs to be affirmed that what he feels and experiences is okay and it's true. Okay. So, what you tried to do there without realizing is you tried to get out of the bad feeling and like jump to something that's good. Right. And what he said to you was, let me stay here. Just meet me here. Stop trying to pull me over to where you're more comfortable, where I'm all happy and I'm like, yeah, I did a good job. Let me sit in my pain. I feel a bit shit about that game. And what might have been valid is, it wasn't your best game. But outside of the fact that it wasn't your best game, are you able to identify anything you feel you did good in your game? So, with the words of affirmation, kid, what will just while you're learning how to do this, what will help you a lot is ask questions, don't make statements. Yeah. When he does something bad or good, if he's proud of himself or he thinks he did something shit, everyone listen here. Here's a really good line. You learn this later in the program, but I'll give you a very powerful line to say to a child when they're like, "Oh, mummy, I got an A today. Oh, I got picked for the team today. Oh, I got a top score today." It doesn't matter whether it's something good or whether they're like, yeah, so I got the worst grade today. Oh, yeah, this, it doesn't matter which way it goes. The words are, what do you attribute that to? Okay. Even when they say they're so excited about themselves, I just did this. Oh my God, I got picked. Oh my God, like, oh my God, I get to do this. You're like, well, I'm not surprised. I mean, it doesn't surprise me one single bit. You'll learn that in the third pillar as well. I'm surprised and I'm not surprised. Very powerful language. You used I'm not surprised when they do something really good, and you used I'm surprised when they do something bad. Okay. And look, if you want to, oh look, I'm just going to make myself a note so I don't forget. Give me a second. Hang on. I'm going to come back to this for a second. I'll show you all a video you should go. I'll shortcut you all a little bit tonight because there's so many of you, and I know you're all pumped to to do this. All right, I love it. I love it. So no matter what it is, okay, you say, what do you attribute that to? And you let them validate themselves, whichever way they want. If he says, "Oh, geez, I played shit tonight," now it's okay at some point for you to go, "Well, I saw things differently. I mean, I'm not gonna tell you you're wrong. I mean, might not have been your best game. I mean, personally, I felt like you made a few good passes. But anyway, what do you attribute that to? Like, what do you put it down to?" So when you say, what do you attribute that to? You give them a space of reflection. And that's what a words of affirmation person is like, I want to be so fucking real with you, but can you meet me here where I'm as real as I want to be? Sometimes it'll be my passion and my inspiration, and sometimes it'll be my pain. And what I want is I want you to meet me here, just where I am. Don't try to make my sadness happy and don't put a dampener on my sadness. Just hold a space where I can reflect on myself right now, and anything I need from you just has to be affirming. So even if you disagree, you can say things like, he might be, oh, I did this, I played so shit in defense tonight. You might be like, okay, well, you can do the whole like, what do you attribute that to? But the other thing you can do is you say to him, well, wait, let me give you, how old is he first, just quickly?
14.
Okay. And basketball's his game?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I grew up as a basketballer too. So I'll give you something really, really, really specific here, right? You can validate him in, well, it might not have been your best game, or well, I'm not going to disagree with you. I mean, I'm not going to make you wrong for how you feel. I saw a few things differently. I mean, are you open to me sharing what I saw in your game tonight? The other thing you can do if you want to take him down a line is, and you want to be positive and put it in there if ever he starts beating himself up, because words of affirmation people also can be quite hard on themselves. Okay. And what you can do is you can say to him, when he's like, kind of proving to himself what wasn't good about his game. Yeah. Um, and you're like, okay, I don't want him to like fall into that pit kind of a thing and just focus on, what was bad or whatever. Start with, what do you attribute that to? Yeah. Um, yeah, but Megs, it's not making him feel shit. No, we're here to allow our children to feel however they feel. They're allowed to feel all things. And if he feels shit, let him. It doesn't mean he is shit, but it's okay if he played a shit game. And you don't have to say, yeah, I agree, you were pretty shit tonight. Do you know what I mean? You could just say something like, I mean, I definitely have seen you, play better. I'm not going to say that that was your best game, but do you know what I saw tonight? And this is what I want to give to you, Anne. What you can say to him is, are you open to me sharing what I saw tonight? I tell you what I saw you do tonight better than any time I've seen you play. Because you're right, you did miss your shots and you didn't get the steals you'd normally get, and you did get more fouls than you'd normally get. But can I share with you what I saw from the sideline? I've never, I've never seen you play with that kind of tenacity. I have never seen you come back and come back and come back and come back. Like your resilience tonight, your ability to not be on your best game skills wise and still come with the tempo that you came with, still chase down, people in offense, to still like you played hard. I mean, you got 4 fouls. That's the sign of how hard you went in. And you didn't get 5 fouls. You finished the game. And yes, I agree with you. Maybe tonight wasn't your best skills game. But what I could see from the sideline is the attitude you kept. That no matter what, the example you set as a leader in that team is that even when you have a shit game, that's how hard you play.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's
I mean,
leadership.
it all makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you bring him
Um,
to leadership. That's leadership. Yeah. And so when you step on the court, you're not just going out to play a game of basketball. You're
okay.
going out to lead the team. You're going out to be part of something that's even bigger than you, because the team's playing the game. And so
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, anyone can fucking like be happy when they've played a good game, can't they? Anyone can give themselves the pat on the back then. Anyone can have a good attitude when they're hitting all their shots and they're banking threes and they're getting steals. Anyone can smile at that kind of game. There aren't many people who can play the kind of game you played tonight and not drop so low in their attitude that they bring down the team. And that's what I saw you do tonight.
Yeah.
But did you notice in all of that, Anne, how I didn't use evaluative praise? I didn't say, oh, but you were amazing. Oh, but you were so good. I didn't say any of that. I described what I saw. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, you missed your shots. When you say that to him, you're building trust with him. He knows you're going to be so fucking real with him that then when you say the next thing, he knows it's not bullshit. He will take that on because he knows you're willing to meet him where he's at. And if he's in his pain, or if he's in his disappointment, or if he's in his feeling like he's let everyone down, that's going to be hard for you if you can't sit with your feelings when you're disappointed or when you've let yourself down. And this is why we need to do the healing so that we can show up for them in a way where it's like, okay, well, yeah, it wasn't your best game. Not gonna lie. I also don't think it was your worst game. I mean, tell me what you think about it. Tell me the parts of your game that you are thinking about that you wish you had done different. Just let him talk. Just let him get it out. Let him validate what's real. And then don't make it wrong. Don't say but. You say, yep, all of that's true. I see how you see that. I don't have to agree, but I can see how you see that. I see how you see that. Yeah?
Yeah. Can I share what he said to me when
Yep.
this all makes perfect sense, and I a good part of me thinks it could be his love language. Can I share what he said to me when I asked him, how do
Yep.
you know if
Oh, yeah.
I
Tell
love
me.
you? Um, he said, "Oh, because you're kind and you do kind things."
Okay.
Um, and he said, "Oh, you just do you because you're my mum." And I left it sort of at that day, and then I asked him the next day. I said, "Oh, you said that kind. You said I was kind. I said, oh, is it something I do that it makes me kind, or is it something that I say?" And then he
Great
said,
question.
I said, "Oh, can you give me an example of something?" And he said, "Oh, yesterday when you helped me when I was cleaning up after cooking, like he was cooking what he
Hmm.
wanted to do, he said you helped me do the cleaning up of it."
Okay.
So that to me is something that's more of an act of
That's an
service.
act of service. Yeah, it is. And remember, we have one dominant language, one close behind, and the other three, they're nice, but they don't fill us up, right? Now, let me say this to all of you, and I'm going to say this to you, Kelly, because this part here, let me just remind myself what you said. You said that you think that she jumps between love languages. That just means she's adaptive at the moment. Okay. Those of you who have adaptive children, kids that have adapted in their love languages to try to just fit in where they can and get love how they can, I won't even let you lock down their love language for at least 6 weeks. You can think you know what it is, and I am telling you, no matter what, you have to keep an open mind that it could be anything, because especially when all of a sudden you go home and show up differently as a parent, your kids are like, what the hell's happened here? Like, you feel different. Like, something about you is freaking different. And their brain, first of all, can go on high alert to be like, oh, well, let's see how long this lasts. Like, I don't know. I mean, can I really let down my wall? Like, is this how we're doing life now, or is this just your little phase? Or like, I feel like I want to let my guard down, but can I actually? And they don't really get to choose. Their mind is gonna, their reptilian brain is gonna perceive different kinds of threats, and go a bit vulnerable, and then put some walls up. So if you have children who have uh you're seeing this language, that you don't even really know what they are. Even if you tell me you think you know it, I'm not letting you lock that in for at least 6 weeks. Let's watch the patterns. You can't just go in with a question. That's why the love language guide is nothing other than the most basic, most, if anything, an insignificant guide. It's a guide. It's just a clue for what to look out for, but you cannot base it on anything until it's backed up with the other two things. So let me go into this, both for you and Kelly. And I'll come to the whole thing about, the teacher and all that kind of stuff with you in a sec too, Kelly. But just around like love languages, because this is really going to help your daughter with the situation that's going on and the love that she feels at home and all of that kind of stuff. And also, let me just remind myself, I think, oh, yeah, no, that's right. So I want you all to know this. You get this in the program, okay? So if you haven't finished the whole first pillar, you cannot draw a conclusion on love languages. Once you've watched the whole first pillar, you then need to give it time to look for patterns, because there are some weeks where kids will show up a different way. There's something going on at school or with friendships or mentally, and like even like they just Even the touch kid just doesn't want to be touched that week or something like that. Like these, we're humans, right? We're not robots. You can't put us down on a fucking spreadsheet and say that's what you are. We all, change ourselves and we're adaptable creatures, okay? But how you work out a love language is this. Number one, you watch all the videos and you know what to look out for in terms of what does your child, there's three things. What do you look out for? What does your child respond to when you give them love? Like, and you try everything to start with. If you've got no idea, do at least one of every love language every day. Do an act of service, a little bit of touch, a little bit of words, somehow like offer them a gift or an offering of some kind. When you walk in from the garage, fucking pick a flower that you saw there and bring it in for them. Like it can be anything. Okay. Um, and obviously, quality time, right? Now, you've got to look out for what do they respond to best when you try to love them, when you offer them something, like what pulls them in, what gets connection, okay? Secondly, what you're looking out for, and there's a video on this in the program, it's called the I'm sorry languages, okay? This is something that I invented this. Like this is part of that big study that I did and I worked it all out. And this is not in a book out there. I should copyright it, right? And what I'm sorry languages are is this. You have to pay attention to what your child does when they are trying to repair a relationship, an argument with their brother or sister or with you or with a friend. What do they do? Okay, a gifts child, let's say, might come and might buy you something or might come and do a drawing and bring it to you. Or what a gifts child will do, like gifts represent sacred memories to them. They will, like, the one thing they never share with their brother or sister will be the one thing they offer. It's their peace offering. Okay, they're like, oh, you can play with this if you like, when they're trying to make up with their brother or sister, for example. Okay, now, if they're words of affirmation, they'll say sorry or they'll send a text and they'll explain it. This is why you can't make your kids say sorry, because if you've got a touch child, they're never fucking saying sorry. And it doesn't mean that they're not sorry. And then you really cause damage in them when they have just shown how sorry they are, but because they never said, I'm sorry, you completely dismissed any effort they made to repair what they just did because they didn't say sorry. And we completely dismiss and overlook like what they just did. Because the touch child will want to come and give you a hug or, put their arm around you or something like that, right? To repair a relationship. Yeah? An acts of service child will do some jobs for you or clean up something or unpack a dishwasher they never got asked to do. Like they will do some things. That is them saying, I'm very fucking sorry. I'm really sorry. That is them repairing the relationship. Yeah. And then what you look at is, so you look at what they respond to when you love them, what they do when they're trying to apologize in their own way. You can't ask them this question, but for a lot of you, that won't match up. What you think, oh yeah, they love when I touch them. I'm like, yeah, but when they say sorry, do they ever come and hug you? No. Okay, I bet you touch isn't their love language. I bet you it's not. Let's see over the next 6 weeks. Let's look for patterns of behavior. What do they do the majority of the time? And sometimes they won't. Yeah? And then you look for what unloves them the most, what absolutely crushes them. So, for example, if you've got a quality time child, you can't ever give that kid silent treatment, ever. And you also can't give the words child silent treatment either. You can't say to an active service child, that's it, I'm not doing that for you anymore. That's it, we're not going to fix that on the weekend. We're not going to do that on the weekend anymore. Like, you will crush them if you do that. But if you do, notice this, notice where they're like, I don't care. Or next minute they're like, devastated. And the next day they're like, so mum, are we actually going to do that? Like the whole idea that you're not going to do that for me anymore, or that we aren't going to do that thing together. These are clues to the love language. And you've got to put all three clues together. What do they do? What do they respond to when I offer them certain love? What do they do to love others, especially when it comes to apologizing and repairing and reconnecting in any relationship in their life? What's their natural ability to want to do? And then what absolutely crushes them whenever it's used against them as a consequence or a punishment or something like that. Okay? Yes, Shari, all replays are posted in the group tomorrow. Okay? All replays and they're up forever. Okay, so this is where you can. So this is what I want you to do, Anne. I want you to look out for all of those things. Okay. I
Yep.
want you
Yep.
and don't draw a conclusion. You can think you've got it. And if you do think you've got a pretty strong idea, look out for that. But be careful that your subconscious doesn't become so laser focused on you wanting to be right, because it's a very normal thing that we all want to be right, especially with how we love our kids. Like we want to know it's we've got it right. So just be careful that you just always have the filter there of being very open. And if you can't match up an I'm sorry language with what you think a love language is, I'm telling you, you've got it wrong every day
So
of the
with
week. Okay.
with because I'm thinking like my son the other day, like we'd had an argument about something, and he did come and say to me voluntarily later, "I'm sorry if I came across as rude to you." Um,
Yep. So
but
that's a sign.
so I'm kind of things are sort of leaning a little bit, more that way for to the words. But so what words would I say to him that would to unlove him, like that would really what sort of things would I be saying?
Anything,
Obviously we
anything, anything, like anything you call him, or if you, oh my God, you're so selfish, you're so annoying, or, like it could be anything like, oh, I can't believe you did that. Like your words are just cutting. Like words, if words cut him, no matter what you say, then that's a big sign.
yeah
Okay. There isn't necessarily an exact word that you have to say. Sometimes it's not even what you say, it's how you say it. If you say it in a really kind of seething way, rather than, hey, we need to have a talk about this because it's not okay, versus like, that's just not okay. What are you thinking? Like that fucking will cut him.
yeah it's good
Make sense?
yeah
Okay.
yeah
So just play it out. Just look for these things. Yeah. And like, and if you need help, obviously you can come back or use the group, but it's a pattern. So you can have a fair idea, but just keep yourself open-minded with it as well. And make sure you're looking at all of that, and make sure all of you here, you got to watch all the videos. Don't get to, this is what I know what most parents do. They get into love languages, they get to the language they think their kids are, and they're like, oh, that's definitely it. Everything in that video makes so much sense, which it does if they're very adaptive, it all makes sense. And then they're like, oh, I've worked it out now. And then they never finish the rest of that pillar. I can see your back offices. I can log in and see exactly what video you've watched and how long you've watched it. And even if you fake it and you click mark complete, if I wanted to, I could go and see whether it actually ran to complete or whether you just click that. Not that I care to, but I'm just letting you know I know what happens. People just get to the one thing, they validate themselves on what they think it is, because as humans, we all want to be right. And as soon as we validate ourselves, we're like, oh, yeah, I got it right now. And we move on and we don't watch the rest of it. And then, here you are 6 months later with what you thought was a love language, and it's not. You've been wrong for 6 months because you just didn't stay open minded. So watch them all. I'm sorry language is crucial. It's probably the most crucial part to validating what a love language is. All of you. Okay? All in the videos. But thank you, Anne. Great question. And
yeah
it's yeah, really good to give you that clarity, and to also give the examples to other people out there with teenagers, that remember, you don't really have to come up with the right words, especially with a teenager. You have to make sure you don't use the wrong words, and you need to validate. You have to affirm what words of affirmation need their own experience affirmed. Okay, so if you don't want to agree with him, or you don't want to like hurt his feelings on like, yeah, you played a shit game, then just be like, okay, well, I see what you're saying. I mean,
yeah
I saw it very differently. I'm not, I disagree with some of the things you're saying. It's not how I saw your game. But nevertheless, if that's how you feel about your game, I do see where you're coming from. And in all
yeah
fairness, yeah, you're right. You have hit shots that you missed tonight. I mean, I love some of your passes were amazing. You set up some good shots, but you're right. You did miss the shots you'd normally hit.
yeah that's
And
helpful, thank you, I appreciate that.
no worries. Excellent. Cool. All righty. Let me. No, not in the Facebook group. The videos, guys. Okay, let me show you all. You've got all this in your. Let me quickly show you. because there's so many of you, okay? You all have this in your welcome email, okay? In your welcome email, just go back to it, all right? I'll show you guys tonight. Uh, let me see. I'll share my screen and I'll show you all. But your welcome email had two really important links in it. It said click here to log into the portal, which is where you watch all the videos. And then it said click here to join the Facebook group. So this is where you've joined the Facebook group. You never need that link again. But the portal, I'll share the screen and I'll show you if you uh, okay, you guys can all see my screen. This is the website. Disregard this stuff on the left here. It's because I'm logged in as the admin of the back office, okay? You go to align-life.com.au. This is just the easy way to do it in the future, okay? You would have also got an email saying set up a password with us. And if you didn't, don't worry, just come here. aligned-life.com.au. You click on the little icon on the top right here, this little man, where you log in. Now, if I wasn't logged in right now, it would say, what's your username, which is my email, and what's your password, okay? You need to have set up a password through your email, and if you haven't done that, worst case, just click forgot password. It'll send to your email and, set up a new password, and then you're in, okay? And then what you do is you come to here, and all disregard this because lots of you won't see this. You'll only be seeing the program that you bought, which is this one. It says Powerful Parenting Online Program. It says Conscious Parenting Program. Okay? This is the only one you'll all be seeing unless you're on here and you're part of the Soul Parenting Program as well or the Conscious Community or whatever. Okay? But they're completely different things. So you click on Powerful Parenting Program and this is the program. Yeah, so this is where this is all just welcome. If you click there, there's the 100-page workbook. If you want to print it out and go get it binded right there, okay? You click on that and you'll download the PDF. And then here, love language, 5 languages. Then we go into nothing but quality time, nothing but touch, nothing. And in each one, there's a couple of videos because it's like, how do you love the time child? And ideas on how to love the time child. And I gave that to you so that you could like screenshot that. That's an image that you can download so that you've got it on your phone or whatever anytime you need. Okay? Words of affirmation, same kind of thing. When you finish watching the videos, obviously, how to love your child. It also goes into how to unlove each one of your children, like how you empty their love bucket, what you can't do in discipline. And then it gives you an image. And then you go here, mark complete. And when you click mark complete, you'll see what it will do. It'll tick it over here. So the whole idea is that you watch these in order because you'll get a lot more out of the program if you do it in order. And as you finish one, you click complete. It'll mark it off over here and you always know where you're up to. But you see, once you've done all of the languages, then we do I'm sorry languages. Then we go into self-esteem and love. And then we go into effective praise, which I shared with a lot of you on tour, which was, the descriptive praise and the evaluative praise. The, oh, wow, you're amazing, that kind of a thing. Yeah, that's all there, okay? The 2-hour crash course, you don't need to. We added that there. It's basically pretty close to a replay of the tour, okay? So I ran it as a webinar a few years ago, and it explains to people why their kids don't listen. But if you've been to tour, the crash course, forget about it. Just go into the pillars, okay? Oh, let me show you all one more thing, because I'll show you this now from what I took a note on before. Wait, hang on. Where did you go? All right, I'll show you all one more thing. This is extra value I put in there just a couple of years ago, but it's amazing. So at the very bottom, second pillar, then you got third pillar, fourth pillar, and then at the bottom, there's bonus topics. And then see how it says video archives? So a few years ago, I started doing these videos on Facebook that went crazy. They were getting millions of views. And I'm like, oh, wow, people really like that. So what I did is I got all the best videos on all the different words that you can say and not say and all that. And I put them all together here for you guys. You never have to go searching for them. If you did, you wouldn't even find them right now because they were like 3-4 years ago. So video archives are extra. They're like something I added long after I did the program, okay? So there's 4 steps to stop the whining, 5, I don't know why they're coming up so blown up, but I'm sure when you click on them, yeah, there you go, they won't do that, yeah? So the one that I think you can all go and watch, actually, do you know what? Look, they're all here, okay? And it's called The Simplest Way to Build Your Child's Self-Esteem, but let me just stop this. I'm going to show you one more thing. One more thing, let me show you, so then you can all find your way all week. So this is the Facebook group, right? This is our Facebook group. And anytime you've got a question, or it's like Thursday and the Zoom call isn't till Tuesday, go here into the search bar at the top of the group, go to search, type in anything, and anything that I've ever covered on that topic will come up. Okay. Now, the video that I think you should all go and watch, which I'm giving you as a bit of extra tonight. Let me see if it comes up if I say I'm surprised. I knew that might happen. All right, do this. Let me see. All right, it might be easier for you to find in the group. It's been a while since I did this. Let me just see something. Give me a second. You can type in the simplest way to build your child's self-esteem. Wait a second. Let me see if I can find it. Does it come up? Did I ever share it in this group? Maybe I didn't share it in this group. Oh, no, I mustn't have. Okay, delete that idea. I showed you a bad example. But for example, last week someone asked their child has an issue every time they tell them no. I said to them, go to the search bar, type in how to say no without saying no. And then instantly the video that I shared years ago on how to say no comes up. Like back in, well, I reshared it in 2025, but I did this back in 2021. I did this 5 years ago. Okay. So anything you need, you can use the search bar for inside the group as well. There's so much support. You've got support like at the tip of your fingers. Okay. But what I was going to say was go to watch this video. So go into the video archives at the bottom. So just scroll to the bottom, click on video archives, go to the one that says the simplest way to build your child's self-esteem. Correct bad behavior, I'm surprised. Okay. You all should watch that. No matter how old your children are, everyone can get something out of this video. Okay. And if you watch that, it'll give you 2 words. I'm surprised and I'm not surprised. They're also in the program, but it's just easy to find it here. And that is a 2 minute and 57-second video. It's a 3-minute video, and it will just give you something as of right now that you can do with your kids to start building their self-esteem right from the second you start talking to them. Alrighty? All good? Everyone clear? All of the Zoom calls are in the program. Yeah, sorry, not in the program, are in the Facebook group. All right. So you just have to go to the Facebook group. It'll be there every Tuesday, every Wednesday. So it'll be posted tomorrow. And if you want to, look, if you want to look at tomorrow's one, even if it's Thursday, it'll still be somewhere near the top of the page. Just scroll through and find it. If you want a specific video that you remember seeing, somewhere early March or something like that, then type in the date. Go and look at like what Tuesday was it. Type in the date, March 2026, and type in the word replay, because when we post it with those keywords. Replay, Tuesday, 12th of May, 2026, which means in the future, you can either type in a keyword that we talked about here tonight and it will come up, or you can literally go and type in the date and look for it. Okay. But otherwise, if you're looking for the replays, like straight after they've been done, they get posted on a Wednesday and they'll be near the top. And sometimes you might have to scroll a little bit to find it, but it will just be right there. Okay. Yes, your partners can join the Facebook group, but they're gonna need, are they can just join on the call with you, right? On the Oh yeah, you mean to be, yeah, they can, but they're going to need to use your email address to be able to join the group. So when they try to request to join from your welcome email, they'll have to use the email address that you guys signed up with so that we can let them in and we know that they've paid. All right? Cool. All right, let's get back to these questions. So, Kelly, I want to come to you because I did have you on the screen and then I took you off for a second because we kind of went sideways in that conversation, but that's okay. So, let me add you. Let me unmute you. Hello. Oh, hang on, you're muted. Can you unmute? Right. If not, I'll just talk and did you unmute for you?
What?
There you go. Got it.
Yep,
Cool, cool. Awesome. Okay. So your situation, I know we said like you're jumping between love languages, so hopefully you got something out of what I just shared there. Like just get into the videos and go through it as you know as quickly as you can, but also take notes and like really, really, really go into it. But your situation is that you know, your daughter's having this big issue with her teacher at school. And basically, to sum it up, you said you've just had a suspension on Monday with her telling her teacher that she wanted to throw a chair at her. And I'm sure she didn't say that for no reason, but you know, nevertheless, probably not the best thing to say to a teacher. But you said you've discussed that it wasn't appropriate, all of those things, and she acknowledges that. But this happens a lot with teachers that once they see your child a certain way, they come into the classroom every day with that filter, and that's how they choose to see the child. That child is completely labeled, and that teacher is just waiting for that child to do the thing that they know they're going to do, or they so-called think they know they're going to do. And the second, like they literally set their own brain up, braced for, you know, that child in the classroom, let's say. And then the second their brain like sees anything that even looks remotely like it's going to go down the road that matches the story they've got in their head, they pounce on it, and it's really unfair for the child. Okay, really unfair. And the child then has to spend 6 hours of their day every day. They spend more time in that classroom than they do with you. And when they're with you, they're pretty much, you know, waking up, getting ready to go to school, coming home, getting ready to go to bed, basically, right? So, like the environment in the classroom is one of the most impacting environments in a child's life. I used to go around Australia and run workshops for teachers to teach them how to, it was called creating courageous classrooms, right? And how they have an influence on our children that even we don't have ourselves, because not only do they have our children for a lot of hours, they have our children in the most vulnerable environment our kids could ever be in, which is in front of their peers. There is nothing more vulnerable than, you know, being in front of your peers and being dealt with by teachers and things like that, right? Because we're pack animals, we have to belong to the pack. We can't risk being isolated or an outcast because that literally activates our survival mechanisms. And so teachers play a huge role here, which is why I say every time as a parent, you absolutely have to go and address that. Do it the right way. Set up a meeting with the teacher. It has to be face to face, right? Because you
We
need
had
to
the
go in.
meeting today.
You did,
We
you
did,
had one.
yes.
Okay, what
And we
happened?
did have a bit of a win because I
Okay,
did
great.
address the concerns with the teacher.
Okay.
And when we walked out of the appointment today, because she's got to re-engage for school tomorrow.
Yep.
So I addressed my concerns about her approach with my daughter,
Okay.
like conversations that me and her had had that was in confidence that she was also addressing with my daughter in front of peer mates.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
they've also, yeah,
Okay. So with issues like that, like, look, you've got it. It sounds like you got it to an okay place today. Okay. Next time, you escalate that above the teacher. Okay. The principal of the place or the coordinator of the year level has a very high level of duty of care. Okay.
that was the year coordinator,
Okay. Well, then you
unfortunately.
go to the principal next time. So you
So
tell the,
we've had the meeting with the principal and the coordinator today,
okay.
and yeah,
Okay.
let's just say that my daughter saw that I had her back, which was
Great.
really,
And
really
that's
good.
this is all that really matters, yeah. And you can do it in the right way, but this is where our children need to know that we will be a voice for them when their
Yeah,
voice isn't being heard. So you've done it perfectly.
yeah,
Just be ready to pounce on that. You know, especially if there is any you know, like private information that's violated, that needs to go straight, that needs to go in writing, copy in the teacher, but address it to the principal immediately. I wish
yeah,
to bring to your attention, you know, a very big concern of mine that I have shared something in confidence with your teacher, with Miss blah, blah, blah. You know, I've just received a text message from my daughter or whatever. I've just heard from my daughter that this was shared today in front of her peers. This is completely unacceptable. I will be at your office tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Can you please arrange for the teacher to be there? I would like to discuss this in person. I will be at your, not fucking can I have a meeting? I will be there Can you
Yeah.
please make sure we can have a meeting, right? And sometimes they come back, oh, cool, yes, we can do a meeting, but we can't do it then. We do it, and you're like, okay, well, let's do it at 11 or whatever. But
Yeah.
it has to have that kind of resolute energy to it. So
Yeah.
so essentially, the teacher knows she has to impress you, and you're like, hey, I'm not saying my daughter's an angel. I'm all
Yeah.
for consequences. I'm all for her learning her lessons. Okay.
Yeah.
But
And
at the
we did
same
have
time,
those sort of conversations where I sort of told my daughter, like, this is not appropriate. But I also said to the teacher, my daughter was not heard. Her
yeah,
voice was not heard.
yeah.
And she's like, no, she definitely was heard. I said, well, that's not what she's expressed to me.
So what you say is that my daughter didn't feel heard, okay? Because I'm
Yeah.
not here to discuss who said, she said, fucking we
Yeah.
did or we didn't.
Yeah.
Bottom line is, she didn't feel heard. So what I
Yeah.
need from what, and you do this in front of them. So you say to your daughter, hey, you need to clean up some of your choices, okay?
Yeah.
But teacher, I also need you to be the leader in this relationship. You
Yeah.
are the adult, you are the leader of the classroom, and
Yeah.
my expectation of my daughter is that she changes those choices and cleans up her
Yeah.
act. My
And
expectations of you
that's
are
what we
X, Y,
spoke
Z.
about as well.
Okay.
Because I
So
said to
how can I
her,
help you then? What is it that you just because I got to get on to other people? So without
no,
telling
that's okay.
everything that happened,
I pretty much have resolved it, like because
okay.
I did go in there and I was quite firm with it. I just sort of prior to going and having this meeting today, I sort of needed to, but I think I've
Oh,
sort of
right. Okay.
it was prior to this
You
meeting and
wrote
I
that before the meeting. Okay, I see.
yeah,
Yeah.
so we've
Well,
had
you
the
did it
meeting this
perfectly then.
afternoon.
You
And
definitely
so
did it
we've
perfectly.
addressed it, and yeah, the teachers sort of was like shocked that I was like, because I said, I'm Team Bella, I'm here. Yes, I hear what you are saying, but I also need to be here supporting my daughter. So
Yeah, that's right.
we
Yeah.
have made it
Good
very
on you.
clear that
Good.
she's and I
Well, just
and
get
they
ready to pounce on that again if it happens, because that's it works every time. If ever you need help with what to say to a teacher or something, I can help with that. But it sounds like
because I said
the
it's
fact that you
causing
took it.
conflict. I said I'm trying to be positive, and I've used some of the things that you've spoken about in the group. And I said I said to Bella the other day because the teacher was saying, "Oh, you're going to have a bad
Wait,
day. They're
Cal,
going to go
sorry,
there."
let me just jump in just because I got lots of people to go and help, right?
Yep,
And we're nearly at an
yep.
hour, so I
Sorry.
can't go through the whole story. No,
No,
I
that's
totally
okay.
get it.
That's okay. I do
But if you
understand.
feel like the problem got solved or it is so, if you need help again, you can definitely
Yeah,
ask. But the fact that you go in to bat for her straight away, that's
yeah,
important. Make her be responsible for her choices and call the teacher forward to being responsible too.
yeah.
All right?
Absolutely. Thank you so much,
No
Holly.
worries, darling. You're welcome. All righty. All right. I am now going to come to you, Shaylee. Let me find you on here. So many people are going to go right to the bottom. Let me find you. Hang on. Oh, yep. Yeah, there you are. Uh. All right. Let me unmute your line. Hello, darling. How are you?
I'm okay.
Okay, could be better. You got some challenges going on here. So you've got a 14-year-old. He's in year 9. You said he's refusing to attend school despite making promises and plans, and he's only regressed further. And you said the school is being supportive, so that's amazing, but he's only attended 12 days. You just want to know where to go to from here. Yeah. So, here's my suggestion. To start with, I've done this a lot, just so you know, this isn't like off the top of my head. I've helped a lot of people. And in fact, even just a couple of years ago, we had a mum who is a school teacher herself. Like her highest value is an education because she was the only person in her whole family that actually got an education and didn't really have many opportunities as a young child. So she values it highly. And it was really a big deal to her that her daughter at 14 was not attending school and all those things as well, right? Now, here's the thing, right? First of all, you need to trust him with his own life. And what I mean by that is this. Often what happens is we get so bent up on this idea that they have to go to school, they have to go to school, like like if you don't, we literally create stories sometimes. I'm not saying you are saying this, but this is what I want you to watch out for. We'll be like, if you don't go to school, like you'll never get an education and you'll end up a no-hoper and you'll never do this. And like we are afraid of like this idea, which is all just a story. Okay. Now, maybe that could be real, but at least right now it's not, right? And what I think, I mean, and this is my opinion, and you don't have to be me, right? You're allowed to have your own values, and I'm not here to push mine on you. But I think as conscious parents, that even if we hold school as something important, we also need our children to constantly receive messages all of their life that there are much more important things than school also. Because if we don't plant all those seeds, then the same children who are forced to just go to school become the same people who force themselves to stay in marriages that they shouldn't be in, force themselves to stay in relationships, force themselves to stay in careers that eat them up on the inside because they get programmed like that and they are depressed forever. These are the adults that I have to work with to try and help them. Okay. And so what I'm going to suggest to you is this, that for 2 weeks, and maybe you might want to even go to the school, let them know, hey, look, I've got a parenting coach at the moment. This is what's been suggested. This is what I'm going to try. I just want to keep you guys in the loop and let you guys know what I'm doing, just so that, like they can support it too and they don't feel like you're mucking up the plan or something, right? My question is this: when a child doesn't want to go to school, it's never about school. It's never about school itself. It's about something so much bigger and deeper that they are too ashamed to admit, or they're so scared that they will disappoint you and let you down that they just can't let themselves go there. But then at the same time, they are debilitated and frozen in not being able to go to school. Right? And this is why they can't tell you what's going on. They're not willing to take the risk of how much it might destroy you, or they're like, I don't actually know. And then if I try to say that, it's going to sound like it's not even a good enough excuse. And they're ready for the resistance, right? So if you're open to it, can I just make a suggestion to you? And then once I finish explaining it, you can tell me how you feel about that and we can make some adjustments. But are you open at this point? Are you kind of open to anything because it's everything you're trying is not working anyway and you're like, I'll just try anything? Are you kind of at that line?
Yeah, we have been like this has been probably about a year and a half, maybe,
Okay.
um, that it's been going on for. And he has periods of time where he takes time off. He's got one coming up next week as well. So
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So, and let me just be clear. I saw your comment, Di. This is what I'm about to say. This is with a perpetual school. This isn't like a scenario where your kid doesn't want to go to school for one day because they've got a consequence to face. This is like a child who genuinely, physically can't make himself go to school. There's nothing you guys haven't tried. I know you said, there's just like his you've even talked to him about, alternative options for schooling that you've offered. Like you're not trying to force it. You're trying to meet him somewhere in the middle. And he's 14. Yeah. Okay, cool. So here's what I'm going to suggest, that you give it 2 weeks. Okay. But you've got to tell him there's 2 weeks, because what his nervous system might not have experienced yet, which is why it can't find its center and it can't work out what it does want or what it is open to, okay, is because, correct me if I'm wrong, but normally everyone's response to a kid not wanting to go to school is to find a way to get them to go. And so the kid, even if you're doing it in the most beautiful, nice ways and all that, nevertheless, what they feel and the only thing they experience is, I am being forced against my will to do something that on every level doesn't feel right to me, to the point where despite all your efforts, he's only gone for 12 days this year. Okay, so this is a big deal, right? But he might not be able to tell you, or he might not know why he doesn't want to go to school. Okay, so
Yeah.
first of all, to help realign him, we need his nervous system feeling some kind of safety, because for as long as his nervous system is in nothing other than dread, and he's in nothing other than self-violation. I have to betray myself to do this. I
Yeah.
either betray you, I either let you down, or I let myself down. I literally betray myself and force myself to go. Or if I don't go, my beautiful parents are trying everything to help me, and and I know I'm letting them down. So for him, no matter what, this is like so much bigger than just school, right? And maybe there's real issues. Maybe I don't know. Do you know of any issues at school? Like, is there any friendship issues or bullying issues? Is there anything like that that has stood out that is part of this equation?
he's like a generally really social kid. Um, but he has like a lot of anxiety and depression that he works through.
Okay.
Um, but it the schoolwork sort of gets on top of him, and he finds it hard to understand like what's happening in the classroom a lot. And then I think
Yep.
that he doesn't want to show that he's struggling, so he just sort of
Okay.
avoids it.
Okay. So this is good. You just gave me huge clues there. This is all shame. Okay. He's ashamed. Can I ask you, what's your background? What's your culture?
Well, I'm from Sri Lanka, but I was adopted. He's Indigenous.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And was he, this makes even more sense. Was he like, is his dad Indigenous, or was he is he like your child, or what? Like how,
Yeah. Yeah, his dad
okay.
he's Indigenous, but his dad passed away. So
Right.
so
Okay.
lots of layers.
Oh, wow. And when did his dad pass away?
2020.
Oh, shit, man. So he was like 9, 8. Okay. Okay. So now you just changed the whole game. So there 100% is shame in here, but there is so much. I'll tell you why he can't make a move. I'll tell you why not one part, not one bone in his body can sit there, can deal with that, can hear about it, can think, can sit in school. He is full of like unprocessed grief. And grief comes from loss, and not just the loss of his dad, okay? The loss of his dad is one thing, but in this process he's lost his sense of direction, he's lost his sense of self, he's lost any part of himself that he believed in. There's layers and layers of loss, and grief is debilitating. It is completely debilitating. And so then on top of that, you know, he might have lost his confidence with anything at school. And so now he just knows he's going to fail, or knows he's not going to do good. And so now he's avoiding these feelings of shame, because it's not just like, oh, I didn't do good on that, or I didn't do good on that test, or I didn't understand that. Because it's happened for so long now, it all relates back to like something's wrong with me. Like I'm messed up. I'm not good enough. Do you get what I mean? So this is
Yeah.
so much deeper than school. I'm so glad you asked this question. So what I want you to do is this. I want you to try this for 2 weeks if you're willing to, and if you're able to make this work somehow. And then come back in 2 weeks, and I need to know how he's responded and what's happened during that time, and what things you've noticed different about him before I can give you the next instruction. But it needs to be 2 weeks, which is probably going to be a bit inconvenient for you. But he's 14. Is he responsible enough to stay home by himself? Like, are you comfortable with him being at home by himself and things like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want you to do this. Okay. I want you to, what's his name?
CJ.
CJ. Okay. Yeah. And just lastly, Natalie asked a good question, because Natalie's children are Indigenous as well. Is
Yeah.
he still connected to his culture and his community at all?
Yes, he is.
Yes.
He goes back and goes on country regularly. He's got another trip booked. Sorry, he ran away tonight as well, so that's why I'm really
Oh,
emotional. Just because obviously it's a bit much for him at
so
home to go.
I'm going to tell you word for word what conversation to go have with him. Okay. What's his name? Sorry.
CJ.
DJ. So I want
CJ,
you to,
sorry.
oh, sorry, what?
Yeah.
EJ?
CJ.
Oh, CJ. Sorry, your mic speaker's
It's
not coming
okay.
through.
It's the
Okay,
tears.
CJ.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. And please just let yourself sit in that, okay? Because in all of this, you need to be held too. Because your ability to hold your child really does partly rely on you being held, because this is really heavy, and there's lots in this that you can't change. And you see his struggle, and you can't fix the struggle, and that gives you grief. Okay, like there's loss there for you too. So I want you to say this. I want you to say, CJ, does he know you're part of this program? Have you told him anything about this yet? Okay, so he knows you're getting this call. All right, I want you to go in there and say, and this is also going to help my relationship with him. It sounds funny, but I tell parents this all the time. You'll hear me say it over time. The more you tell your kids about me, and especially the more you all go and tell your kids, do you know what? Holly told me off tonight. She told me this, or like anytime your kids hear that I'm defending them, they really like me, right? And then what that does is it builds this sense of safety between, to the point where I have families that sometimes come on the line that have been here for a few years, and their own 7 or 8 year old will literally feel, I'll say to the mum, hey, listen, are you open to letting him stay up late on Tuesday night? Just get him on the call, let me talk to him. And these kids that I've never met them other than through a camera or something. These kids have heard my name so much in their house that even in front of all the parents, and they know, I'm like, if they're not comfortable, we're never going to push them. But they will come here and sometimes, not all, and don't all go get your kids on, okay? I'm not talking to all your kids, but there are times where I literally have spoken to a 7 year old or a 9 year old or a 14-year-old myself on this call. So I'm saying that to you so you can use this language. Where you say, hey, CJ, you know that I had my parenting call tonight with my coach. And Holly told me what we need to do for the next 2 weeks. And there's nothing that I won't try because I need you to know that you are way more important than school will ever be. First and foremost, I don't care about school. I don't even care about education if it's up against you. Okay, we can always educate later. You are what's important. Okay, so what we're going to do is for the next 2 weeks, you're not going to go to school. There is no expectation for you to go to school unless you wake up and you genuinely want to. Okay, anytime you want to, I will support that. I'll get you to school. And even if it means where possible, if you only go to a recess and then I come pick you up, what we're going to do is just build a safety for him first so that he can just let down this resistance. I need to know a few things about him once his whole life isn't about how much he basically hates his life because he hates school and every single day he's forced to go in the environment, or he doesn't go to school and then he's in the mental environment of knowing he didn't go again and he didn't go again and everyone's trying and he's letting everyone down. That just adds layers and layers to his grief. Okay, does this make sense?
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So I want you to just say to him, I want for 2 weeks, there is no expectation that you go to school. Okay. All that's going to matter over these 2 weeks is that you feel, you know that you are seen, that I can see your pain. I can see how hard you're trying. I can see that, the struggles that you have with the idea of going to school. And you don't have to tell me why. You don't even have to know why. All that matters is I see you in all of these challenges and nothing matters more than you. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to let your heart and your nervous system know that anytime life gives you big struggles like this, you're going to be the priority and everything else comes second. So for the next 2 weeks, you don't have to go to school unless I'm not going to ask you to go. I'm not going to try and convince you to go. I'm not going to go and tell the teachers to give me homework for you to do at home. You get to rest. And it's not school holidays, okay? You just get to rest, okay? And then in 2 weeks' time, we will discuss between us what is the right way for you to be able to go to school or look at other options or something, when the time is right, but it might not be then. But we won't even bother talking about it until at least 2 weeks. Does that make sense? So he knows there's a conversation coming. There is something we're going to discuss. This isn't forever. It's not forever. But for 2 weeks, it's this. Okay, what matters is you. Let's make sure he knows he matters more than anything first. Yeah?
Yep.
Now, when I say that, just quickly, do you have the ability to, do you have a full-time job and you're sitting there going, shit, how am I going to do that? Or what's the go? Can you be home with him or what's the go?
Yeah, I do have a full-time job, but I can work flexible working
Okay.
hours, things like that if I need to.
Okay. So you can manage this even if he has to stay home by himself a little bit or whatever. Yeah? Okay. So let's just let him find safety first. If you're okay with that, tell the school, listen, forcing him into resistance is training his nervous system the resistance is normal and he will live the rest of his life in very unhappy situations on so many levels and it will feel normal to him. His nervous system will become so familiar with being pushed against every part of you that says, don't do this, don't marry this person, don't be with this person, don't take this job, don't stay in this place. And every time his nervous system experiences that in life, he will literally override himself because he's getting taught unintentionally to override himself right now. right? So let's teach him something that's way bigger than school, and let's teach him self-honor. And we're not disregarding school, we'll come back to it, but we have to have that conversation from a centered place. Okay, so the next 2 weeks, he just gets to, whatever, relax. And you can still have rules on him at home and what he can do and what he can't do, and can't sit on his games all day. And you can be as firm as you need to be. He's safe now. Okay.
Yeah.
And then in 2 weeks' time, I really need you to come back, and I'll make sure I, bring you on that night. So just put it in your questions when you do it that week. Hey Holly, just to follow up from 2 weeks ago, just put that there, and then a little description, and then I want to hear from you. Like, what happened? I want to know what happened when you said this to him. I want you to pay real close attention to what you feel from him, what his body language is, what he says, anything, even when you're saying this. Yeah. And then just
Yeah.
really pay attention to him over the next few weeks. Because yeah, I mean, we basically need to bring him back to life. Yeah, because doing life like that is never going to help anyone. And if you drive a child at such a sensitive age that's dealing with so much further and further and further to just do what they should do because society says they should, I mean, that's the kid. Like, I mean, I don't want to say it out loud. That's the kid that's headed for the scary path, and sometimes we don't get them back. Okay. So let's just make him more important than school. 2 weeks. I'm not doing this forever. We'll put in some boundaries. We'll find some ways of communicating and all that kind of stuff. But in the meantime, I want you to watch I really, really, really want you to watch the whole first pillar of the program as fast as you can. Try to be looking out for his love languages. He needs that love fed to him in those ways, as well as all of the video on the last video in the first pillar, the one that says like how to give effective praise. I need you to watch that, and I need you to just practice that one video for the next 2 weeks. I need you to pick him up on everything he gets right, everything he does right, and do your best, unless it's extreme, to not even mention anything he does wrong. He just needs his mind full of like all of the things he gets right in life, because right now the only thing he sees is everything he gets wrong and everything he can't do.
Yeah.
Okay, I need you to do that for 2 weeks. Come back and talk to me, and then we'll see where he's at and what we do next. After that, there might be another week of like integrating back into school. It might not be straight back into school. It might be. I've had scenarios where it has been, but it might be a place where we let him have some freedom to choose to some degree. We'll talk about that when we get there, but I just want to make it clear with you. It's not like 2 weeks no school and then all of a sudden he's going to go back. It could be, I mean, there's some people that I've had even take their kids out of school for an entire term, and it completely saved their life. They went back to school wanting to, renewed everything. So
Yeah.
you just got to have the bigger picture in mind here. And honestly, who gives a fuck if it took us the whole year to work this out? Year 9, who cares? Honestly, like just keep it in perspective. He could fuck this up for another 5 years and be 19 and still do really well in life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're not in a hurry. It's okay if this takes time. He's got a lot of unprocessed grief. Okay?
Yes. Thank you.
You're very welcome, darling. Do you have any questions on that? Is that clear for you, or?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Well, you go have that conversation, okay?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
You're so welcome, darling. All right, Tam, I'm going to come to you, babe. Let me find you on here. So Tam is someone that's been part of our world for a long time, and some of you might have seen her Facebook post in the group. She had a very devastating situation. Tam, I'll let you just explain in a nutshell whatever you want to say. I do need to know from you if you're completely uncomfortable for me to talk out loud about it, or whether there's certain things you want me to just keep coded a little bit.
Hey, Holly.
Hello, darling.
You might have to explain.
How old is Juliana?
Almost 13 now.
Okay. All right. Let's do this so we can just have an open conversation, because it's not going to be helpful, right? And you put it in the group anyway. So, cut a long story short, Tam came to one of our retreats 5 years ago, And as part of one of the retreats, there was a process that we did where we do it in the soul parenting program as well. It's extremely healing, but as part of that, you have to honor yourself so deeply that you're willing to not care about other people's experiences in order to honor your own just for the moment of writing that letter. And as part of that, you kind of do like a bit of a fuck you letter, like fuck you for hurting me, and fuck you for this, and fuck you for that, and that really hurt me. And it's really just a place of giving yourself permission to not forgive others and to just come back to what's real for you. And so anyway, Tam, as she's done all of our retreats, and she's a big part of our community. And she really goes deep. And so long story short, she wrote her letter and it was in her journal. And then over the last 18 months, she's gone through a pretty messy separation. And as part of that, her ex found her journal and ripped the letter out of the book and gave it to her 13-year-old and said, "Look what your mum said to me." Extremely devastating. And he's hurt his own daughter. Like, he's literally used it as a weapon against her. But Juliana she's quite a conscious child. She's been raised consciously for at least the last 5 years. Plus, she's done a lot of mentoring work with my daughters and things like that. And this is one of the benefits, Tam, of how you've raised the kids, even though she's in pain. Give me an update on where she's at just since this happened. Like, how is she towards you, or just give me a little quick update.
Yeah, no, like, so when that happened,
Mhm.
it was just all so stupid. Like, it started off the school reports, right? So I took the school reports and I made copies. I gave him copies, and then he's like, I want the originals back in the envelopes.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, they're the same thing. I color copied them exactly the same. No, I want them back so the kids can have the originals.
Mhm.
I'm like, I left it. And then I get a message from Juliana saying, Mum, can we have the original reports back?
Mhm.
And I said, Hun, they're the same thing. I
Yeah.
said, it's the color copies, etc.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, how about anything for you, mate? How about you give Dad a break?
Okay.
And then that message was one of the messages he had sent to me previously. And I thought, has he got her phone and sent me that message? So I
Right.
messaged her on another platform,
Yep.
and she said, no, I wrote it. Dad told me everything and showed me the letter.
Okay.
And I've just gone, my whole body just, it
Mm.
just went.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, so like my retreat letter, like, and she's like, yeah, the FU letter, and it wasn't very nice.
Mhm.
And anyway, I messaged her, I said, look, I need to explain this to you. I
Mhm.
said, can I take you to school tomorrow? And sorry, she's staying with me tonight. She's in her room.
That's okay.
Um, and so I picked her up, and I said to her, I said, look, I said, that letter, I said, that was not meant to see the light of day for anybody.
Mm.
I said, that was my personal letter out of my personal journal, and your dad has violated my privacy, and hurting me via going through you, and that
Mm.
is not fair.
I'm glad you said that.
Um,
Yeah.
and I said to her, I said, those thoughts, my emotions, those feelings that I put down on paper was my way of dealing as a parent, as the challenges, and anything that happened was no reflection on you. I said,
Mm.
whatever you did was what you did, but it wasn't bad. And that was a trigger for me. And that's the stuff that I've got to deal with to work out why I
Yeah.
reacted the way I did.
Yeah.
But that was never,
Yeah.
ever for you to see. And I'm so sorry that you read that,
Mm. Yeah.
because no matter what, I said, I love you. I said, I'm always going to be here for you, but you were never ever meant to read that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
What is she like
just
with
feel,
you now? What is she distant to you? Is she trying to be
but
close to you? What's she like now?
no, she's okay. Like after we had that conversation, like I give her a little bit of space and whatever. Um, but no, she's still coming to me, like, talking to me, and
Okay.
I'm
So I want you to
helping her
do
out with
this.
things.
I just want you to give her a perspective. And I just want to be clear to everyone listening. What I'm about to tell Tam is not necessarily what I would tell everybody. Okay. So this advice is very clearly not for everybody. I know Tam, I know her kids. She's been here for a long time. And I 100% do know and believe that this is good for Juliana. Okay. But it may not be for everyone else. Okay. So what I want you to do is I actually want you to write her a letter, okay? Because first of all, if she's words of affirmation and those are and she read those words,
Mm.
then nothing hurts her more than words, and nothing heals her more than words, okay? And people who are words of affirmation, they love letters. Like I tell Dave every year for my birthday, the only thing I want is write me a letter. Write me one on the last year of our life, so that if we end up together for 60 years, I've got 60 letters from 60 years of life, right? And I remember him in the early days saying to me, yeah, but I tell you it all anyway, so why do I need to write it? And I'm like, but listen, when your words of affirmation, the reason a text or a letter means more to you than even what someone says to you is because you get to keep the words. You can reread it. You can read it. I can't get you to say that to me anytime I want, but I can go read your letter anytime I want. Okay. So what I want you to do, how at retreat, at that retreat, we also do like the I'm sorry letter, right?
Yeah, I wrote a lot of letters.
Yeah.
He ripped every single one out, but chose to only show her the
Of
one letter.
course, of course.
Hmm.
That does not surprise me a single bit. Of course he
Yeah,
did. He's very
yeah,
extremely toxic and fucking childish, right?
yeah,
Oh my God. Of course, he doesn't show the great ones. He doesn't show the levels of the beauty. I can't say too much. Obviously, we've got a retreat coming up and whatever, but you
yeah,
know what I'm talking
yeah,
about.
yeah.
Like, of course he did that. Okay. Everyone here that's coming to any kind of retreat in the future, they're like, whatever letter she makes me write, I'm fucking burning it. And that's okay. But what I want you to do is I want you to write her a letter. And whatever your heart wants to say in all of its vulnerability, do that, because and then you're not there when she gets it. So you can leave it like on her bed or her pillow, or give it to her, whatever, and just go, hey, and just give it to her with no expectation, right? So either put a note or hand it to her and just say, hey, you don't have to read this at any given time. Like, there's no hurry. Whenever you're ready, I would love for you to read this. And just leave it with her, and don't follow her up, or just say, and when you've read it, if you want to talk to me, put in the letter, it's probably better to not even say that. Just at the end of the letter, put, I would love for you, when you feel ready, to let me know that you've read this. And if it's easier, you can write me a letter, you can send me a text, or if you're open to it, I'd love to chat with you. But at the same time, I have no expectation. You need to honor yourself just like I was honoring myself. You need to do what feels right for you, right? Now, just so you know, I don't know if she ever did it with Amani, but there are some instances where, when they've done mentoring, that these kids do kind of like fuck you letters too, but they're not fuck you, but they're like, I hate you, mum and dad, when you make me do this, and you never let me have this friend, and blah blah blah. Like, they're allowed to express themselves, right? So if it feels right, you can tell her in the letter. Like, if it feels right, it's a very soul cleansing thing to do. It's the deepest honor any person could have for themselves, and you have every right to write your own letter. Just so, and by the way, like, I have no intention of reading. If you want to give it to me, you can, but you don't have to. Like, and even you can tell her. She can swear. She can say, "Fuck you, mum. I can't. I fucking hate you for writing that letter. I hate what you wrote in there. Fuck you, dad, for showing me that letter." Like, if that calls her, just because I know she's quite a conscious child, and she's been raised by you, you can put that in the letter, because I wouldn't mind betting that that idea resonates with her. And when
Hmm.
she has her own experience with something, and she knows, I fucking love my mum, I love my dad, but I'm fucking angry that you did this, and that you guys are broken up, and that you guys fucking fight all the time, or whatever. Like, you're allowed to be really angry about the situations that we forced you into, and you can hate us for that type thing. Like, like you can say, I hate that you made me deal with this. I hate that this happened to me. I hate that we're not at one big family anymore. Do you know what I mean? So just open your heart, write her a letter about that. Write her, I'm sorry. But at the same time, I'm not just here, be truthful. I'm not just here to say sorry to you. I am here to make peace with myself. And I need to write this letter to you, whether you read it or not. My heart needs to know that I have at least written this to you. And I want you to start it with this. Firstly, I am truly so deeply sorry that something that was never meant for you was given to you. And not only was it given to you, but it was given to you by the one man you need to be able to trust more than anyone in your life. And I'm sorry that your dad handed you something that hurt you so deeply and he never considered your feelings in this. That's not fair. Secondly, I'm sorry. I take full responsibility. But Tam, do not apologize for like what you wrote, right? I
No.
like you don't have to be sorry. And I want this to be an example in her life forever that you never have to apologize for having that kind of brutal honesty with yourself. Because if you don't have that kind of brutal honesty with yourself, you'll be full of trauma your whole fucking life and you'll project that on everyone around you. And I was at a retreat to literally break that cycle. And part of what was making me project everything onto everyone around me was that I had these parts of myself that I had never honored. I had this anger, I had these feelings of failure, all of the things, and I had to honor myself and just get it out because holding that in is what was making me like I was, and that's why I went to the retreat.
Yeah.
Okay?
And like not only explained it to her, but explained it to him as well. And it was just never ever gonna
There's no point explaining it to him. Don't even
sink
lower
in.
yourself to try to
No,
explain nothing to him again. I will
no,
slap you, okay?
no, don't worry. I've slapped myself a
You
few
will get
times.
one of those holy slaps, okay? Do not explain yourself to him. Explaining yourself to her, I totally get that, okay?
Mm,
But I want you to write it in a letter to her, okay? It has to like, yeah, that will go deeper because she can read that as slowly as she likes. She can be by herself. She doesn't have to take on, she's not in a conversation where, as well as dealing with her own feelings, she's also feeding off yours and feeling what you're feeling and trying to fucking resist that because every child hates when their mum cries and all of these things are like there's too much for her to even honor herself. Okay. So either leave it on her bed or give it to her and just say, hey, whenever you're ready to read that, read it. But just in case, I am going to ask you to please keep it at my house only because, to be honest, I don't trust that if your dad found out what he might do with that. And, and she'll know, right? She'll know. Like, because if he found you doing that and found you repairing your relationship with her, he would fucking rip that up so that she can't have that. I
yeah,
literally wouldn't trust. Okay.
yeah,
So it's got to be done in writing. And make it as long as you need, and just make sure she knows in that letter there's no expectations. She doesn't have to come and talk to you, but you love her too, if and when she ever feels like that feels right for her. But that in this process, she has to honor herself. Make sure you tell her she has every right to be angry at you. She has every right to feel hurt by you, and by what you said, and by her dad as well. And that anyone in her situation would feel that literally has to be the words. You have every right to feel this way. Anyone in your situation would feel like this. And then just share with her, tell her, and you're at the point in with her age and your relationship with their dad and how toxic he's being, where it's okay for you to say things to her that normally you wouldn't want to say to a child, but in your situation with a dad who's willing to fucking basically throw his daughter under the bus in order to hurt the mother, that I'm sorry, but she chose you guys as her parents, and she absolutely, you can say things to her that I would normally tell another parent, your kids don't need to hear that. She does need to hear it because it's in her life anyway. Do you know what I mean? So you can explain to her pretty much whatever you want to explain. Okay?
yeah, yeah.
Whatever you feel the need to explain. But it has to be done in writing. Okay?
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, and do it sooner rather than later. It'll help free your heart, and then you just have to give this time. You're gonna have to let it take its process. Um, when you've done this, it'll take you out of that position where you keep trying to fix it, and energetically, like it will feel pushed onto her because you're trying to get rid of your own pain, and you just want to know that everything's okay and everything's gonna be okay. So
But I'm not validating her
that's
feelings
right.
in the process.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Perfect, babe. Yeah, you're very conscious. It's very true. You're not validating. And she needs to be given full permission for this to take her however long it takes. And if that means you sit in some uncomfortable feelings for 2 months, like that's okay. Like it is what it is. And she needs to be able to honor herself as much as you honored yourself in that letter. So the principles of that letter need to be offered to her as permission to honor herself the same way.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And just know this. Yes, I know she's hurt and she's hurt of like whatever was said in that letter or whatever. But at the same time, there is a big seed planted in her that it's okay for her to have her own feelings because she just read something that she would never have seen you ever express. She'd be like, I would never have realized this is how my mum felt, which shows her how you were showing up despite how you were feeling, and that it is okay in life to honor yourself that deeply when you choose that you're ready to heal. Okay. And then at some point, and then at the same time, no question, Tam. Right now, it's easy for her to just project all of her anger at you. You are also her safest person. She knows that even if she's angry at you and, that causes a bit of a rift for a little while, she knows you're always there to love her. She does not have the same assuredness over her dad. Okay, especially now that he's just used this as a fucking weapon against her, right? She loves him, she knows he loves her, but she can't trust what he would or wouldn't do to hurt. He can't trust that he even knows what would hurt her. Because if he knew what would hurt her, he would never have shown her that. He would never have fucking handed his own 13-year-old a fucking letter that would do nothing but cut her up. Like, what a weak, insipid man.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Unacceptable. So, as much as this hurts and you're scared that things are damaged, there are lots of beautiful seeds here, and you can't see it now. But what has just happened may very well have set up the relationship that needs to be in place for when she's 15, 16, and may need to distance herself from him if he's this toxic and can't control himself and all the other stuff that I know about your relationship. Okay. So
Yeah.
you need to trust this process, and believe truly, not just cliche that things happen for a reason. And this will show her that she's allowed to honor herself and she's allowed to have any feelings that she wants and all of that. And it doesn't mean that she doesn't love people. And she can see that you've never, ever, ever acted like that letter says. So there's the cogs will turn for her. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just making her grow up a bit faster than she should have to, but it is what it is. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
No worries, darling. I really see how heavy your heart is, and I'm really sorry you even have to deal with this. But, I can't say I'm surprised. He's done some very childish things, and this is just like shows that he won't stop at anything. So I'm sorry you have to deal with it, but go and write her a letter sooner rather than later, and it will give your heart some closure on it as well. Okay?
Yeah. All right. Thank
Okay.
you.
No worries, beautiful.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. All right, beautiful people. This is the end of tonight. We only ever go to like 90 minutes and we're a little bit over. If you have a really pressing question that you need answered that didn't get answered tonight, you can go put it in the Facebook group. I can tell you 99% of your questions will be answered by watching the videos anyway. Or you can absolutely bring it back next week if you really felt like you needed to talk to me. But I think we covered all questions except one or two anyway. So, let me see. Beautiful, Tass. That's awesome. I'm glad you got something out of it. That's amazing. It is. These calls are amazing. And honestly, look how beautiful our community is. Look how real our parents are. I mean, when they come, they go all in. They show up as vulnerably as they need to. Tam's a perfect example of that. So I'm very grateful. And Kelly, honestly, babe, you did an incredible job the way you were a voice for your girl today. You have no idea how big of an impact that makes in your relationship with her, because she knows that first and foremost you've got her back. So be strong with the school. If you need anything, use the Facebook group. Otherwise, we'll be back here same time next week, yeah? I love seeing your faces. Good night. Oh, that's so beautiful, Natalie. I look forward to seeing you at retreat too. I love this. I will see you there.